Yeah, good morning, everyone. Fine. Okay, so where we stopped it in the last class, display all is completed. For inserting, we created a view, right? Yeah, display all is completed, and for inserting, we created a view. So first we got get employees. Yeah, right now no records are there. That's why it's not loading anything. సరిపోద్ది కదా. Okay, so this is the one you have. And when you click on add new employee, it launches you asking for name, job and salary. And here we have the list of departments. And remember, to load this list of departments, what did you do? In the model class, you have defined one. I'm sorry. In the model class, you have defined a property. What is the property name? Departments. Which type? List of select class. And to fill this property, to fill the values in the property, you have defined a method in the DAL class. You have defined a method in DAL class. What is the method name? Get departments. The get departments method, what we have just used here, is going to fill you the actual data. So the get departments, when you call the get departments will actually fill you the values that are just going to be required in that place. Is that clearer? Okay, so this is all what I just given you an explanation up in the previous class. So with this, we have just been created the view for adding an employee. What next? Employee got added. The next stage is we require to insert. Okay, let us go to controller. Yeah, get method is ready here. Now we require to write the post method. HTTP post. What do you do? Sorry. Public redirect to route result. What? Add employee. For add employee, we're going to pass a parameter. What is the parameter? Model. What is the model? EMPDPT is our model. EMPDPT is our model. We are passing the model parameter here. EMPDPT. Fine. What next? Now we need to write the code for inserting the record into the table. Yeah, guys, remember, when you're going to write the code for inserting the record into the table, actually, we need a method first. Where we need the method? We need a method in the DAL class. For inserting, we need a method in the DAL class. Let's go to DAL class and we'll write a method here. We're just going to write a method for inserting a record into the table. Are you clearer or not? Okay, now listen. For this method, for this particular method here, we are going to pass a parameter. What is the parameter? The parameter what we are going to pass for this particular method is same again, the model EMPDEPT. But EMPDEPT refers to two tables. What are the two tables? EMP table, DPT table. But your plan is to insert into two tables, your plan is to insert into only one table. What's the plan? Inserting into two tables or inserting into single table? Your plan is just to insert into one table only, don't forget that. Are you getting my point or not? Your plan is to insert into one table. So here, when you're writing the insert code, guys, You will be writing the insert code to insert only into employee table. Means in the DAL class, I will refer to the original model. What is the original model? Employee. Then what is EMP-DEPT? EMP-DEPT is just designed only for the purpose of the view creation. For view binding only, we just created the EMP-DEPT because the views has to show you both the records here. The view has to show you what? Both the data. Both the data means data from EMP table, data from DEPT table. And unfortunately, there is no chance of binding two models to a view. For that reason, we created our own model class with the name called as EMP-DEPT. This is only for the UI purpose. Are you clear? But if at all you just talk about working with the database, once you talk about inserting the records into the database, at that particular point of time, okay, we cannot use this EMP-DEPT. What we require to use again is the employee. So what you do? You remember, if you want to insert a record into the table using link, I said you 3 steps. First step, create the instance of the model class and initialize the properties. Second step, call insert on submit method and add the record to the table. Third step, call submit changes and save the changes to the database. Am I clear? Follow the process now. So now what you do? Here you need to create the instance of which class? Employee class. No more EMP-DEPT. EMP-DEPT will contain the values, but actual class instance what I require to create is employee class. Employee EMP is equals to new employee. When you are creating an instance, you are required to initialize the attributes now. What attributes to initialize? Do I require to initialize the number? Tell me, do I require to initialize the number? No, why? We have identity, so ignore it. Do I require to initialize the name? Yes, ename is equals to model.ename. Did you understand now? The model contains the name, that is what I am assigning for this. Next, job is equals to model.job. Model.job. Next, salary is equals to model.salary. Next, department ID is equals to department ID. Okay, next, status is equals to, this is fixed value. We are not going to take it anywhere from the model. This is fixed value because even in the model doesn't contain the status at all. In the model, we did not take the status, but this is inserting status should always be true. Are you getting my point or not? So we have a default value. We have a default value, but unfortunately, this model contains the status property in it now. If I don't assign, the status value will be taking the default value as false, and default value will be coming into picture only when I don't send a value. But if the value goes as false, false will be inserted in the table now. Did you catch my point or not? That is the reason why I'm just going to say status is equals to true. So my first step is completed. What is it? Create the instance of the entity class and initialize the attributes. Second step, call insert on submit method and add the record to the table. Add the record to the table. So what's your table actually? Employees. obj dot employees. obj context class. What are the context class? Sorry guys, we are making a mistake. We are writing this code in the controller. I'm sorry. We need to write this code in the DAL. We need to write the code in the DAL. I'm sorry. Public void employee underscore insert. The method name is employee underscore insert. What are we passing? EMP-DEPT model. Yeah. Now what is the name of the data context object? DC. DC dot employees dot insert on submit. What to insert? EMP. Next, DC dot submit changes. Finish. That's it. 3 steps. Remember, I already explained you all the 3 steps. Create the instance of the model class and initialize the properties. Second step, add it to the table. What is your table? Employees. What is employee? Employee is my entity, not my table. What is the table? Employees is your table. Call insert on submit and afterwards call submit changes. And once you do that, the record is added automatically to the table. Okay. Now, what we do in the controller? In the controller, what are you receiving? Model. So simply pass that model there. obj dot employee underscore insert. Pass off the model there. Which one? The model object. And simply call return redirect to action. Which method? Display employees. Yeah, we named it as get employees. Okay, we just by mistake named it get employees, but actually it is display employees. Just a minute, I'll rename it. This is not get employees. This is display employees. Where is the view? Display employees. Calling display employees. Yeah, what we launch first? Display employees. Click on add employee. I'm adding a record. Job, manager, salary, some 50,000. Department, marketing, save. See there, 1001 is the number generated. Name, job, salary, department ID, name, location. But actually we inserted only these values. Remember that point. But these are also loaded from the department table. Why? We created a model class combining both the two things for creation of the views. So going to get all the values. Again, add new employee. Stay there. Job manager, some 50,000. Department is sales, save. Salesman, 20,000, sales department. Okay. Suresh, analyst, 22,000. Finance. Job is clerk. Salary some 10,000. Am I clear? The records are getting inserted. What next? View button. When you click on the view, it launches your display employee passing the employee ID. We did not create the action method and view also for this. Come on, let us go to controller. Write the method. Public view result display employee. What are we passing? Employee ID. Guys, did we write the method in the Dal class for getting single record? Array, we done it yesterday, na? We written a method called get employees. We written a method called get employee. We written a method already called as get employee now. The method is already implemented last class. So where emp is equals to obj dot get employee. Pass the employee ID. Return view. What to do? Pass emp. See here, get employees. Get employees. So I called it EMPS. Right, these names are user defined here. Any names you can just give, no problem. Just to understand this is multiple, this is single, I just named it like that. That's all. Okay. So fine. Fine. So we just been ready with this particular method also. So now add view, right click, add view. What's the model? Answer fast. EMP, DPT, EMP, DPT is your model, and display view will create, edit, what is the view? Display employee. Now we don't have an image here. We don't have an image. So left side column names, right side, I'm just going to display the image. That's it. View. Got it. So whatever you click, it is going to fetch you the data from both the two tables and display for you in a tabular format. Clear? What next? Edit. When we click on the edit, it should launch you edit employee, display the information for you for editing the data. Correct? So what we just need is the edit employee record. Guys, when you remember this one, the edit employee, you're just required to write the edit employee now. Fine. So first let us go to controller. This is display. This is add. This is, all of you observe carefully. In add employee, what are we doing? Constant get method. Last class I explained you. Generally for insert we launch a blank view. But yesterday we discussed it very clearly. We need to launch blank view only, but department should come with the departments. Department should come with the departments. The department should come there automatically. Are you clearer or not? Okay, the department should come with the appropriate values. So what we done? We did not launch the blank view. Without launching the blank view, we passed the EMP DEPT further. Remember that? Yes or not? But this EMP DEPT, if you observe, none of the properties contains the value except one property. Which property? Department's property. Put a breakpoint again. Observe it. What I demonstrated for you in the last class. None of them have the values. Only the departments only has the values. If all have values, text boxes will show values again now. We want text boxes blank only. Correct or not? But departments is blank. Departments is not blank. That is not blank. So because that is not blank, we filled only the single property there. Watch. When we click on add, coming here, we are creating empty employee. When you're creating an empty employee, see, all the values are empty. Even departments is also empty. But if departments is empty, drop down list will not fill the value now. So to resolve the problem, what did I do? I am filling the department's property. Now see, this EMP model doesn't contain any value, contains only departments. But remember, when you go for edit, you need all these values now. We need all these values now. All these values, yes, here. If you don't have values, how text boxes will come with values now? We need all the values now. Are you getting me? See the difference. Just concentrate. Observe. Public, view result, edit employee. Edit requires a parameter. What is the parameter? Employee ID. Okay, now? Now here you created an empty employee, EMP DEPT, EMP is equals to. But here, EMP DEPT, EMP, EMP DEPT, EMP. EMP is equals to, don't call new EMP DEPT. What you say? obj.getEmployee of employee ID. This is going to load you the data from the database now. Understood the difference? New means a default constructor, not initialized now. But here we are not creating a new keyword. We are calling a method. Which method? GetEmployee will load the data from the employee. But now also this department's property will be empty only. Why? Because in the GetEmployee we are not filling the department's property at all. That will be empty. Do you want? Break just a minute. Return, view, pass the EMP. Did you notice the difference? Here empty EMP, here EMP with values. Break point. Click on the view button. Okay. Oh, sorry. Click on the edit button. When you click on the edit button, concentrate. You're not going to create an empty EMP. See now, EMP came with data. Then only my text boxes can be filled with the data and shown there. Otherwise not possible, na? Okay, but departments. Now also problem now. Department should contain value. Why? When you're editing, then also drop down list should contain the values so that I can change the departments now. Okay, how to fill the departments? Array, to fill the departments already we written the code here. Same code only. What is that? EMP dot departments is equals to obj dot get departments. Here two methods should be called. Get employee, get departments. But here only one method is called. What is it? Get departments. Is the point clear? Let us add the view now. Let's add the view now. Okay. So right click, add view. Okay, add employee. Come to add employee. Who is this CFO? Yeah. The model. EMPD EPT. Next. Look. The header, what you are showing. Next. When you call edit, what should be called? Update. The edit should call update. Update employee method should be called. Okay, na? Fine. Next. First, employee number. Employee number is editable or non-editable? Non-editable. Okay. So guys, have a look. I am going to create name text box, job text box, salary text box, all these things first. Name text box, job text box, salary text box, all these things. Now what about employee ID? For insert, no need employee ID, but for editing, you need to show that. Array, which employee are you editing? You need to show that. So for that reason, what I'm doing, I'm putting a text box for employee ID also. But tomorrow, if I put a text box like this, you have a chance to edit. Correct or not? But I don't want to permit editing. I don't want to permit editing. Comma, listen, comma, new. HTML attributes I'm using. At the rate read only is equals to in HTML guys, the read only attributes value is read only only. Read only is equals to read only. In C# we have true or false something. But in HTML we don't have booleans. Have you learned it? In HTML booleans are not there. So what is the value? Read only is equals to read only. You learned a video player control in HTML. Controls, the video player control. You not learn? HTML. The video player control has properties controls, loop, muted and all. What is the value for controls? Controls value is controls only. Loop is loop only. Because HTML doesn't have booleans, we use the same thing only. Read only is equals to read only. Is that clear? So text box will come, but the text box is non-editable. What still? All are there? Department ID. The next thing is department ID. Okay, watch guys. When you come to department ID, how did you place the department ID text in the last class? We just gone for a drop-down list, right? Now also we are going for the drop-down list. Now also we are going for the drop-down list. Are you clear? Now answer one point clearly. The drop-down list will show you the departments. The drop-down list will show you the departments. Do you want to display select department now? For insert, you show the select department. For edit, you want to show select department or the existing department. The existing department should come there. Am I correct? So don't write select department first. I don't want a optional label. I don't want this. I don't want the optional label now. Okay. What next? Not a reset button. @ action link. Sorry. @ HTML dot action link. What do you want? Cancel, comma, which method to call? Display employees. You're going to call the @ action link and display HTML dot employees. Actually, guys, this looks like a hyperlink. If you want to make it look like a tab button only, if you want to look it like a button only, use Bootstrap, and the Bootstrap, you have an option, button primary, BTN primary. If I use that class, action link also looks like a button. Action link also looks like a button. If you want, you can do that. Okay, I'll just show you. Fine, I'll show you. But meanwhile, just watch it. First, let us come to display employees, run. Edit. When you come to edit, just watch it. Edit. I'm editing 103. 1003. What is the department? Sales department. Edit. So how did you get it? You did not assign anything? I assigned here. What do you assign? Array, you are binding the model property na. When you bind the model property, that is automatically selected now. That is automatically selected. This is to tell load these values. This is to tell default selection. This is the default selection. What is the default selection? Department ID. That is the reason why, see, this is a cancel. Cancel will take you back. Anything. See, now you are editing. What is the name, guys? Finance. Okay. So what I'm telling is, if you want to make this button to this hyperlink to also look like a button, use Bootstrap. I'm telling. How? We have Bootstrap here. We have a content folder. Yeah, Bootstrap is there. Oh, do we have a layout? Huh? Yeah, we have a layout already. No issues. Because there is a layout. Yeah, already layout is there. Layout is using Bootstrap already. Layout is already using Bootstrap. So directly here, we can just say comma. Controller name, route values. Nothing, I'm just checking for the overload, that's all. So many overloads are there here. Bloody hell, that is. First one, action name. Link text and action name. Third one, link text, action name, route values. We don't want this. No. Link text, action name, controller name. Okay, link text, action name, route values, and HTML attributes. No route values, null is route value, HTML attributes. How to use new? @class is equals to, you can apply bootstrap class, btn hyphen primary. Looks like a button only if you use bootstrap. Basically, this bootstrap here, because I did not use bootstrap directly here, IntelliSense is not working. But you have so many bootstrap classes like this. Here, what did I use? Primary, right? I just used the primary. We just have different bootstrap classes like primary, secondary, danger. We have different options that are available here. I'm using what? Secondary. And this button is there now. Which button? Submit button. For submit button, I'm saying class is equals to, yeah, now coming. btn, you'll have it, guys. Different options, danger, default, primary, success, okay, warning. We have a lot of different options available, what you can just use here. Is that clear? Okay, here I'm using primary. Second one is secondary, and here I used primary. A little bit here, I've just said you Google for the bootstrap classes and try to use bootstrap so that you'll get a clarity, you'll get an idea about the things. Okay, minus SM for small button. Okay, guys, thank you. I'm not. Oh, here I removed. Save came. Why this one moved? Edit. Secondary spelling mistake. What is that? Secondary is there or not? Oh, secondary is not coming. We'll go for a warning. In the latest bootstrap, I think that bootstrap is old version. The latest bootstrap, we have primary, secondary, both are there. The old version, I mean, I think it is not, secondary is not coming in the list. Now hyperlinks also will look like buttons now with the applying of bootstrap there. Save button, cancel button. But that is a hyperlink what we just used here. Is it clear? Okay, now shall we edit it, guys? Let's edit it. Analyst, I want to make the salary as 23,000. Click on save. We did not write the update employee method still. Right, just showing you the view creation is completed. What next? Update method. You require to write the update method. Come on, go to employee controller. Write the method. Public redirect to route result update employee. What to pass? EMP model. What to do? Same here. Go to dal class, write the method, call the method here. Just for the timing, return redirect to action. Redirect to action. Display employees. We need to write the update method. We have to write dal class. Go to dal class. Come on. Let's write the method. Public void update employee. What are you passing? EMPDEPT model. Guys, do you remember the steps to update? 3 steps to insert, 3 steps to update. If you want to update, what did I do? What did I say? You should create an instance or create a reference. We should not create an instance, we should create a reference. After creating a reference, the old value should be overridden with the new values, and then you're required to call submit changes back again. Come on, let's create a reference. How to create? Employee, okay, old EMP is equals to TC dot employees dot, I said you 4 methods, remember? Single or default, first or default. You can just use anything. I'm calling the method single. E, lambda expression. E dot employee ID is equals to model dot employee ID. Model dot employee ID. So you're picking the employee ID from the model and you're fetching the record. And now understand, guys, what will this contain? Old values. What will this contain? New values. Are you clear? Just for understanding, no need, just for understanding, I'll name it as new EMP. Is that clear? See, names are always our understanding point of view. Don't think like what is the old employee, what new employee. That's for understanding purpose. I said you. This is called, this contains the new values. I'm naming new employee. This contains the old values. I'm calling this old employee. Fine. First, old EMP dot ename is equals to new EMP dot ename. Next, old EMP dot job is equals to new EMP dot job. Old EMP dot salary is equals to new EMP dot salary. Old EMP dot DID is equals to new EMP dot DID. Sir, what about employee ID and status? No need. User did not modify them. Nah. When you don't modify, don't assign. The old values will stay in the table as it is now. What user can modify? User can modify name, user can modify job, user can modify salary, user can modify department ID. What can be modified? Modify them all. Remaining things, don't touch. They will be as it is present with the old values in the table. Lastly, DC dot submit changes. Finish. That's it. Okay, now come to your controller and call the action method. Call the action method. How you call? Obj dot. What are you passing? Model. You're passing the model. And don't forget, this model is nothing but the new employee values. Is it clear? Okay. Let's come here. Run. We need a edit view, guys. Let me create the edit view. Oh, edit view already completed. I'm sorry. Edit view is already ready. Come click on edit button. Modify the salary 23,000. Click on save. Modify. Click on edit button. I want to change this person to accounting. Save. You modify any of the 4 values. Name, job, salary, department ID. No matter, that gets updated for you in the database table. Is it clearer, everyone? So we are clear with this. Okay. Finally, one thing is left out. What is that? Delete. One action method is required. One DAL method is required. For everything you are writing 2 methods. One is the action method. Second one, DAL. Why? All the business logic is in the DAL. We are not writing the business logic in action. Are you clear? If you want to eliminate the DAL, what is the suggestion I given you? Write procedures. If you write procedures, DAL will be removed off and procedure methods will come for you, which you can call directly from the action methods. Okay. Come on, let's click on delete asking confirmation. See, are you sure? Click on OK will call. Delete employee. Passing the employee ID. Okay, first let me take you to the DAL code and write a method. Public void delete employee. For delete employee, no need to pass empdpt. Only one parameter. What is the parameter? Employee ID. That's all. Int. Sorry. Int. Employee ID. You want to permanently delete or update the status? Update the status. Means now also you're doing update only, right? Then what to do? Employee old empty is equals to dc dot employees dot. I can even call a method call first. That also can be called. What do you write? E lambda expression e dot employee ID is equals to. Array, we directly got the employee ID now. So directly pass it. What next? Old emp dot, only one value should be updated. Status is equals to false. Then dc dot submit change. Check it out here. Update code, delete code are same. But update is updating 4 parameters, but delete is updating 1. Update is not updating status, but delete is updating the status. That is the reference. That's all. Now come to employee controller. Write the method. Public redirect to route result. What? Delete employee. What are you passing? Int employee ID. Call the method obj dot delete underscore employee ID return redirect to action. Which method? Display employees. See, once inserted, updated, deleted, whatever action you do, finally display employees should launch again. Finally, display employees should launch again. That's the story. That's it. I'm ready with everything, guys. Start from display employee. Everything is completed now. Guys, I'll tell you one thing. Tomorrow, you have a requirement. Sir, into departments also I want to insert, update, delete. Add a department controller. Write all these methods targeting department. Are you getting my point? Can you do that? I'm giving the task to you. What to do? Add a department controller. Define all these methods like same. Okay. Now in the DAL class, either take the same DAL class. No, don't take the same DAL class. Write a new DAL class called as a department DAL. Write a new DAL class called as department DAL, and there write the methods. Display all departments. Display one department. Add department. Edit department. And delete department. Is it clear? See, there also, for view designings and all, for view designing there, you can use a department model only. No need employee model. Why? Because departments will show only department's data, will not show employee data. Employee will show department data, but department will not show employee data. So that's why for view designing and all, no need emp dept. What we can use? Department model only can be used of directly. Understood all of you? So that is the task what I'm giving to you. So just create one department controller and write the logic for performing all the cloud operations on the department. And write one department DAL class. 2 things you need to do. Department DAL class, department controller. When you write department controller, corresponding views you will create anyhow. Okay now? So that's what. Yeah, fine. I want to delete 1003. Delete. Are you sure? Yes, I am. Deleted. Deleted. But the record is still safe in the database. We already know that. That's good. Is that clear? So understood working with multiple tables now? The pain working with multiple tables is, tomorrow we did 3 tables. You need to define a model class combining up all the 3 attributes. Why like that means? Because unfortunately, view have a drawback. What is the drawback? A view cannot be bound with multiple models. One view can be bound only with one model. Because one view can be bound only with one model, this complete pattern should be followed while developing your applications. I hope you are clear. Okay, so this is all about how you create up all the views and everything. Fine, guys. Yeah, this is all about link here. So 3 examples I explained you with link. 1, working with a single table without procedures. 2, working with a single table using procedures, eliminated del code. 3, working with multiple tables, how to work with multiple tables. This is all about link. The drawback with link is, link works only with SQL Server. Remember, I already said you in the last week when I started with link to SQL. The link to SQL is designed only to work with SQL Server, cannot be used on any other database. When link to SQL came, .NET 3.5. When link to SQL came is .NET 3.5. In .NET 3.5, link to SQL came into the market. Okay, now in .NET 3.5, link to SQL came into the market. Okay, fine. Link to SQL came in the market in .NET 3.5, well and good. But the point to just all of you notice it. What is it? When link to SQL came in the market, when link to SQL came into the market in 3.5, it was purely working with SQL Server only. But don't forget a point, already said you in the last week, link is built on the top of ADO.NET. ADO.NET is the root. ADO.NET is the root. Same, when you're learning C#, in the starting days I said you one thing. C#, Java, all these are, Python, all these are very, very fantastic languages for building applications. But if you want to learn all these things, first you're required to learn C language. I very clearly said to all the people, if you're not good in C language, do C parallelly. Why? That's the mother of programming. That is the mother of programming. So what I say is, for everyone I suggest this, do C language first. See, in C#, I never taught you logics. Did I teach you any logics to you? Like for loops, while loops, I implemented them, but I did not show you any flow diagrams, or I did not just explain you about anything. For you to practice, in the end of the notes, I given you a set of logical programs, how to print Fibonacci series, prime numbers, all these things I said you. But you practice, I don't. If you want to learn them perfectly, that is where you can learn in the C language. Is that clear? Having knowledge on C is required. If at all you want to improvise your logical thinking, there only they teach you about flow diagrams and all. When you come to C#, from day one, our focus is only on application development, how the industry develops application. That's what I'm focusing. I never focused on basic programming anytime. Yes or not? Exactly. The roots there comes from C language. Here also, for database programming, the roots come from ADO.NET. Are you clear? Frankly speaking, what will perform good ADO.NET or link means? The answer is ADO.NET only. But link reduces the button on the developer. Developer buttons are reduced. Simple understand. If at all you want to call a stored procedure in ADO.NET, how much coding you have written, do you remember? Lot of code you have written to call each and every procedure. But if at all you want to call a procedure in link, we are writing 2 lines of code. Create the data context class instance, call the procedure method, finish. That made our job easy and simple, right? So the programmer job will become easier day by day working with ADO, link you, not with ADO.NET. ADO.NET is a bit lengthy coding. But performance point of view, what is better means ADO.NET than link. So what happened, in .NET 3.5, link to SQL came. It's a very big success. Rapid application development came into picture. Rapid application development. So with this rapid application development, they're able to develop the applications very easily and simply by using link now. So at that particular point of time, the industry raised the question there. What is the question? You have given link, fine, but this is working only on SQL, but my database is Oracle, my database is Sybase, my database is some XYZ database, then how? And in this process, the .NET 4.0 introduced us a new architecture called as ADO.NET Entity Framework. What is that? ADO.NET Entity Framework, and right now it is just called as Entity Framework, that's all. Earlier it is ADO.NET Framework, but now it is only Entity Framework. This Entity Framework is as same as linked to SQL. This Entity Framework is as same as linked to SQL, but Entity Framework added some extra features. Generally, guys, a new update came means automatically new features will come, that is sure. Second thing, it is designed to work with any relational database like Oracle, my PostgreSQL, MySQL, on anything you can just use it. That is the difference what we have between linked to SQL and Entity Framework. This is how the Entity Framework came into the market in .NET 4.0. And what are the two differences I said here? First difference, it is having more features when compared with linked to SQL. Extra features are there. Second thing, you can work with any of this, any relational database. That is what the Entity Framework is all about. Entity Framework. Are you clear? So from now, we are just going to replace linked to SQL with Entity Framework. Understood my point? This Entity Framework, when you just go to ASP.NET Core, we again have Entity Framework core there. Okay? So we'll see, we'll discuss about that. But that's what we are. So now we have Entity Framework, and here also the same concept, ORM, object relational mapping is there. And to do ORM, we are provided with a tool called as EDM. There we used OR designer, right? Here we have a tool called EDM, stands for Entity Data Model. Entity Data Model. We use the tool and we can just do it. If you observe this picture, okay, look at this, all of you. What is this? UI. What is this? Business layer, your domain classes. What are these, Your context class, data class, model class, all the things what you put in the model folder. Remember, what are the contents of the model folder? Context class. Context class, that is the important class. Second, model classes. Third, data class. If procedures are there, this DAL will not be there. If otherwise, DAL will be there. All this called as the business entities or domain classes. Or simply speaking, that's the business layer. That's all model. And this is the data layer using Entity Framework interacts with the database. Using the Entity Framework interacting with the database basically. So this is the architecture how this works to you. You know UI, you know business layer. So what about this one? You don't require to write this. This is ready-made. Ray, you don't require to write this. This is ready-made. Your business layer talks with the data layer behind the screen, and that will be performing the CRUD operations on the databases. Even link is also same only. Even link is also same. No difference but link. Link also exactly the same story. Nothing different between link and Entity Framework. Only thing is, I said you, extra features are available. Okay? Fine. Now, Entity Framework, basically they launched with the 3.5 SP1, Service Pack 1. 3.5 linked to SQL came. 3.5 Service Pack 1, Entity Framework came, but as a trial version. Official launch is 4.0. Official launch is going to be 4.0. Are you clear? But today we have two Entity Frameworks here. One is EF, second one EF Core. The last version of EF is 6. The last version of EF is 6. But now we have EF Core. EF6 means works with the .NET Framework. EF Core works with the .NET Framework also, .NET Core also. Okay? We still did not start with .NET Core. We learned about .NET Core in C# already. We did not start with ASP.NET Core. In ASP.NET Core, I'll show you EF Core. So you see, first released in 2008 with the .NET Framework 3.5 Service Pack 1. But official launch is 4.0, remember. Stable and feature rich. Yeah, it is stable. Works on Windows on. Works on .NET Framework 3.5 and above. Next, open source. If you talk about core, first released in which year? You already know, .NET Core came in 2016 with .NET Core 3.1. New and evolving. It is new year. So continuous changes are happening day by day. Next, works on Windows, works on Linux, works on OS X. Works on .NET Framework 4.5 plus .NET Core also. This is also open source. So today what we are learning is EF6, guys. Later we'll learn EF Core. And if at all you learn about the EF6 version history, the first version is EF 3.5. From there, 4, so many are there, 5, 6. The last one is 6.4.4. Latest 6.4.4. And these are the core versions here. One great good thing with the core, you know, in framework, yeah, in framework, the bloody hell, you know, your runtime has different version numbers. Your runtime has different version numbers. Okay? Your ASP.NET has different version numbers. Your NT framework has different version numbers. But when you come to .NET Core, your runtime version, your ASP.NET version, your NT framework version, all are same. What is the latest version of .NET Core? .NET Core 6.0 na? ASP.NET is also 6.0 only. ASP.NET Core is also 6.0 only. NT framework core is also 6.0 only. If tomorrow 7.0 comes, all three will change. What will change? Runtime also will change. ASP.NET also will change. NT framework core also will change. All will change. So we don't require to remember each thing separately. You know, I'm working on .NET Core 6. This, you're working on ASP.NET Core 6 and you're working on NT framework core 6. Everything will be same. That is one great thing what Microsoft has done. But earlier, the bloody hell is, framework versions are different. ASP.NET versions are different. And again, NT framework versions are different. What is the last version of the framework? 4.8. The last version of ASP.NET is 4.5. 4.5 only. Okay? And the last version of NT framework is 6.4.4. See now, mismatching, see? But you don't have that mismatch in the code going forward. Okay? That's one great advantage. Yeah, some features of the NT framework, cross-platform, modeling, modeling, yeah, EDM. Modeling is nothing but EDM, NT data model. We use it, it will define you all the get set properties and everything. Next, querying, you can use querying. Yeah, we all do your querying in linked SQL also. Select joins and all that. Querying is possible. Change tracking. What is that? It keeps on tracking the changes. It keeps on tracking the changes that are made on the database data. EF keeps track of changes occurred in instances of your entities which need to be submitted to the database. Means it keeps on monitoring the changes on the database continuously. Saving, you know, save, insert, update, delete, curl operations can be done. We call submit changes method na. That only saving is. But the method name is changed here with the name called as save changes. Concurrency. What is concurrency, you know? Concurrency is a very important concept here, what you just require to understand. What is concurrency? Concurrency in the sense, basically this NT framework link you all are disconnected architectures. You learned in ADO.NET, connection-oriented disconnected architectures. These are all disconnected architectures. So once after loading data into my application, in the disconnected architectures, you have a concurrency problem. What is the problem? I loaded data into my application. After loading data into my application, some changes are done to the data in the database. Are you clear? The changes are not known to me now. The changes are not known to me. When I update, when I update, my changes will go and override the old. My changes will go and override the, see, I loaded data here. After I loaded data, you made some changes in the database. You updated some record. Now again when I update, these values will go and override of your values now. This is a great danger, concurrency problem we say. We called it concurrency problem. But this concurrency handling is done here very effectively. When you're saving the data by using NT framework, if there are already changes made on those records, it will tell you. What it will tell you? There are some modifications performed on the database tables to you. It is going to inform you back. That's concurrency handling has done for you efficiently here. Next one, transaction management. Transactions. What a transaction? You learned in SQL, commit and rollback. Commits and rollbacks, yeah. If all operations are successfully completed, commit. Otherwise, rollback. That's called transaction management. Caching. We will see here, I'm just giving up an overview, that's all. Caching. What is caching? Caching is a mechanism of storing the data in the memory. Caching is a mechanism of storing the data into memory so that every time without connecting to the database and loading, it can make use of the data which is present in the cache. We will see all those things practically. No worries. Built-in conventions. What is built-in conventions? The built-in conventions basically means, suppose you are using a data type in SQL for a table. For a table, for a column, you have a data type. The data type is money. Automatically in your application, it will create you a property with a data type called decimal. They're all going to be automatically mapped. Suppose you have a primary key constraint on your column. Automatically the property here, what is created is a key column. I showed you already in the link, na, the key, primary key column has a key information showing you this is a key property. Are you clear? We already saw most of the things in the link, but I'll show you much more in detail for you in the NT framework. Configurations. You can do your own configurations here. Like what? Annotations. Remember annotations? I explained you annotations. Annotations can be used in two different scenarios. One is UI designing. Second one is entity framework. We can use the NT framework annotations. Migrations. What are migrations? One drawback I said you with link, remember? What is that? Tomorrow, if there are any changes to the database table, you're required to drag and drop the table on the OR designer and generate the class again. Yes or not? That was also effectively handled here with the help of migrations. We are going to see all these things in practical. That's why I did not focus much. I'm just giving an overview of the things, that's all. But I'll show you this built-in conventions, configurations, migrations, caching, all these things we'll see. Is that clear? Okay, fine. So now let us jump start and see how to work with NT framework actually. Work with NT framework here, we are provided with three approaches actually. To work with NT framework, we are provided with three approaches. What we call them as, no Vishal, no Fluent API. We are not going to learn Fluent API. Okay. To work with NT framework here, NT framework provides us three development approaches for us. What are the three development approaches? Database first, code first, model first. What is database first? What you learned in Link to SQL is a database first. What is that? Database is created first. Tables are created. Next, model or domain classes are generated based on the tables. Our domain classes are generated based on the database. Based on the database, your domain classes will be generated. That is called as DB first. And what we saw in Link to SQL is also DB first. We have another approach, very popular and used in the industry right now extensively. What is it? Code first. What is code first? In code first, there is no database at all. There is no database at all. In our application, we define all the domain classes. What? You only write the context class. You only write the model classes. Everything you write. Entity framework will generate the tables. Entity framework will generate the database, tables, procedures if required. All are automatically generated. All are automatically generated. Means no need to create a database. No need. When you run the application for the first time, it will connect to the server, creates a database, creates the tables, if required, creates the procedures. All the things will be done by NT framework. See, tomorrow, when you're building an application with ADO.NET, what you done first? Database created first, tables created, then we adjustment developed. When you are going to host this application on the client systems, at that time you're required to carry two things. What are the two things? You're required to carry the database to the client. You're required to carry the application to the client also. But if you work with code first approach, you don't require to take any database to the client. What you require to take is only application. This application will generate me the database as well as tables automatically. In hosting, I'll show you. When I'm hosting the application, I'll show you. I'll use code first and I'll host it. When I host my application, that only will create the database. That only will create the tables. Everything is going to be automatically generated for you. That is called as code first. And this is the most popular approach what we have. Are you clear? Third one is model first. What is model first? Model first is, it's not a successful approach, and also going forward, that's not a great idea also. What is model first is, in model first here, we don't even have domain classes. We don't even have domain classes. We are provided with the designers. With the help of the designers, we will design the domain classes. We will just design the things. When we run the application, it will generate the domain classes and it will generate you the database also. Means model first will generate everything. What all? Generates the domain classes as well as generates your database also. Understand? DB first. What developer does? Developer creates the database and tables. Application will generate your domain classes. Code first, reverse. Developer defines the domain classes and NT framework will generate your database. Model first. Developer doesn't do anything. No domain classes and no database also. Just a designer is given to you. Using the designer, we can design what entities are required and all. So next, the NT framework will create you the domain classes also, and NT framework will generate you database also. All are done by the NT framework to you. I said, compare with link, NT framework has advanced features. So two new things are added here. What are the two new things? Code first, model first. So DB first. DB first is already present in Link2SQL. What you learned in Link2SQL is DB first only. Am I clearer, all of you? What you learned in Link2SQL is DB first only. DB first only we learned in Link2SQL. So these are the three development approaches that are available to you here. Hold on a second. Yeah. Development approaches with NT framework. There are three development approaches you can use while developing your application using NT framework. First one, database first, code first, model first. What is database first? What's the picture? You'll understand what is database first. Database is existing with a set of tables in it. Database is existing with a set of tables in it. This is your NT framework. What approach? Database first approach. What will this do? This will generate you the context and NT classes. Simply speaking, domain classes. In a single word, domain classes. Domain classes means your context class. Context class is very important. Remember, that is your connection. Second one, NT classes. NT classes means employee, department, student. All these are my NT classes. Okay. The second option is code first. Look at code first. What do you have? Domain classes. The code first approach. NT framework will generate you. These two are reverse here. Code first, domain first are just reverse. Third option, model first. See there. You don't have domain classes also, you don't have database also. What you are given with? A designer, a visual designer, using designer design database models on the visual designer. The NT framework will create your context and NT class as well as generates the database and tables also. Okay. So which one to be used, sir? Which one to be used? First, DB first is successful here. We have a complete support in NT framework, but limited support in EF core. Limited support in EF core. EF core also supports for limited support. Code first. I said you, this is the most preferred option what the industry is using till in the industry now. And we have complete support in EF6 and also EF core. EF6 and EF core completely supports code first only. Okay. What about DB first? DB first is extensively supported in EF6 but limited support in EF core. Third option, model first. Is not a suggested option. We don't use it. This model first approach have limited support in EF6 and no support in EF core. EF core doesn't have model first at all. What it has is only DB first and code first. EF6 has three approaches. What are the three? DB first, code first, model first. EF core has only two options. What are the two options? DB first with a limited support and code first with a full support. Clearer? Okay. So now the biggest dilemma will be, sir, which approach should I follow? Which approach should I follow? There is a flow diagram which demonstrates you what approach can be used up in which scenario. It depends on the requirements. Okay, watch this picture. All of you carefully listen. This is the start. You start your application development now. Now read the below one. Already have existing domain classes, means context class, domain, already model classes are defined in my application here. Model classes are already ready in my application. Already we have the model classes. Then what approach is better? Code first. The answer is no, DB first. Watch it. Already have existing domain classes. Yes. If yes, code first. If no, no, don't go after DB first. If no is the answer, check. Do you have an existing database? Array, no model classes here. Then second thing, do you have database then? Yes is the answer. Yes, sir? DB first. No, no is the answer. If no is the answer, then the next thing is, are you planning to design it by using a designer? Do you prefer a designer to design? If you prefer a designer to design, yes is the answer. Then go to model first. No, I'm not preferring a designer. You're not preferring a designer. Huh? Okay, the next question. Are you, okay, you don't want a designer. Then what do you want? You want to create a database first? Then DB first. If you want to write the model classes first, then code first. See, no is the answer. Come down again. See, what are you telling you? Want to design database first? Yes. Then go with database. No, I don't want. No, then code first. Is that clear? So it has given you a beautiful flow diagram to understand what approach has to be followed or what approach you can just use. Okay. So just check it out in your particular notes. It will be very clear. First question is, do you already have existing domain classes? If yes is the answer, code first. If no is the answer, no, not DB first. If no is the answer, next question comes now. Do you have any existing database? Yes is the answer. DB first. No is the answer. Then what? Do you prefer a designer to design? If yes is the answer, model first. If no is the answer, next question comes now. What is that? Are you preferring to design a database first? Then DB first. If no, code first. If no, it is code first. Are you clearer or not? So these are the three different approaches what are available for you in the entity framework. What are the three? DB first. DB first, no need to specially learn about this DB first because already you learned link to SQL. Link to SQL is also DB first one. So what you require to learn is code first. I'll show you a number of examples with code first with different things to you. With constraint creations, okay, relationships establishment, parent-child hierarchy of the tables. You learned in C# classes, remember, inheritance. Identify the common attributes, put them in a parent class, child classes. We'll do all these things here. Practically we'll see. Based on that, the tables will be created for you. One parent table, child tables, all these particular things will just check in the code first. Code first, I'll show you a lot of examples with code first. In that, all the conventions, data annotations will come again now. Because I defined the class now. Based on this, a table should be generated. Generally, if you create a table, you can use constraints on it. But you are creating a class here. Then what about the constraints? Again, you can use the data annotations. The data annotations will create you all the required constraints on the tables. All the required constraints in the tables. And the beautiful approach what you have tomorrow is, tomorrow when you are trying to host this application on the client system, there is no necessity of carrying the database. You start your application for the first time, provide all the connection strings and everything in the configs. Based on the connection strings, it will connect it to the server. It will create a database. It will create the tables. All are automatically generated. And your application will be ready. If you want any initial data also can be inserted. What that initial data? Department table has initial data yesterday. Do you remember? That initial data can be inserted. Everything is possible with the code first. Okay? And when you're using DB first, that's a simple approach. In DB first, when I explained it with link, I created all the controllers, models, everything now. DB first, if you are using an NT framework, we have scaffolding. DB first, if you are using an NT framework, we have scaffolding. So what? If you use that scaffolding, no need to create the controllers views. It will generate the controllers and views also to you. I'll start with the first example that only using scaffolding and NT framework so that we will not write even a single line of code here. Whatever you've done now, everything will be generated by the NT framework directly. Are you clearer? Okay. Like multiple tables, working with multiple tables, all the things NT framework will do. First, we'll start from there only. Afterwards, we'll try writing our own code. And we'll go to code first. We'll go to the code first. All these things. Okay. Let's stop here. We'll continue tomorrow. You create a class variable for insert. You create a class reference for update. When you're inserting, you'll create a class variable so that empty view gets launched. When you're updating, what you create is a reference so that you will get a view with data, not empty view. When you want to get a view with data, reference. When you want to get empty, then instance. Sai Kumar, no idea here. No idea. Caliber Technologies. Don't have any idea. Warren, we will learn. Wait. We will learn in the programming what is DB context and what is DB set. Swagger. Swagger is not a project here. Swagger is a web debugging tool. We will use it in Web API core. SQL data adapter is an ADO.NET class. Did you do ADO.NET, Narasimha? Then I can't tell you anything about data adapter at all first. We'll use Swagger, Ajit. We will use Swagger in Web API core. If the situation comes, I'll talk about those things. Otherwise, just Google and find out. Amog. If the situation comes, I will be using up. Otherwise, just Google and find out them.